Yeah. I'm Violet Strawderman. I am an English literature major, or I was when I was at ODU. I was the class of 2016 for my bachelor's, and then I got my master's in English literature as well, class of 2019. And now I am a PhD candidate in my fourth year at the University of Delaware, also in English. I came into ODU as a biology major, or thinking I would be a bio major. I wanted to be a medical doctor. Um, but then I realized that there's a lot of math involved, and I'm not good at math, and I don't enjoy it. And I decided I would be a psychologist, so I switched to psychology. Um, so my first semester, I didn't have any English courses. I didn't have any humanities courses at all. And then my second semester, I had a theater course, and it was my favorite class. And so not quite English, but similar enough that I thought, oh, okay. And over, I think, winter break, but maybe spring break, one of the breaks, I watched for like the third time the movie Dead Poet Society. And I realized that I needed to be studying English because that's what I loved. That's what I loved in, elementary school, high school. Um, and I think heading into that next semester, I was finally taking sort of the introductory literature courses and all that. And I loved them. And I was like, yes, this is where I belong. So I chose to be an English major simply because at the time, that's what I was passionate about. That's what I was good at. That's what I enjoyed. Um, I don't think I fully knew what I wanted to do. Early on, I thought I would teach like high school. I didn't really know what options were out there. I think for a while I just was enjoying class for the sake of taking classes. Um, but then I met and quickly befriended the late Shakespeare scholar Dr. MTS Habib, and via classes with him, I pretty quickly decided or realized that I'd probably be a really good academic. So, kind of following in his footsteps or the footsteps of some of my other mentors as far as getting my graduate degrees, going on to become a professor. So, I'd say by the end of undergrad, I sort of knew I wanted to stay in academia. For the most part, it was linear because when I was in my, I think, junior year of my undergrad, Dr. Habib encouraged me to do the 4+1 program. So essentially, my junior and senior year, I was taking, mostly my senior year, I was taking master's level courses. Basically, what that would mean is that when I would graduate, I would have enough credits to pretty easily phase into the master's program and already be about a year done. Um, so that I did, that happened. As far as going from undergraduate into grad school, it was pretty immediate. Then after the master's, that's where I actually took some time away from school. So I taught English at ODU for a while, and then I taught high school English for about a year. Um, some of this was during COVID, so I also had a period of unemployment because of COVID. 2020, actually, I did apply to the PhD programs, but I didn't get in anywhere. So then 2021, I tried again. I got waitlisted at UD again, and then I got in. I mean, I think some of it's kind of obvious in that, when I'm teaching English. Like I'm very much still in sort of the English department atmosphere. But I also think that I just have great writing skill, I have great communication skills, and it's allowed me to um, give presentations a lot easier. I get invited to give talks and lectures. So I'm disabled and I do a lot of disability advocacy. So I have often been asked to speak about my experience with disability, the things about disability that are important to me. So I have served on several question and answer panels for um, different people or organizations that want to do or be better about their disability advocacy work. So I've given a friend and colleague of mine is a medical doctor at Children's Hospital Children's Hospital for the King's Daughters. Um, and I was on a panel that he did for interns and medical students. I have been on, I think, one or two when I was at ODU Q&A panels about disability in the classroom. I have a friend of mine, she's actually one of my former high school teachers. She invites me to teach a class pretty much every year for her AP language students, where I come in and it's an English class, but it's usually filtered around or focused around my work. So taking what I do and packaging it and presenting it in such a way that high schoolers can understand it. And then at UD, I've done a lot of panels, lots of question and answer panels. I did one for new student orientation on successful student life or whatever. And then the other was, they bring in students over the summer from local high schools to sort of have the college experience, and they needed someone that was an English person and could talk about their experience as an English major. In between and within all that, there's just been a lot of smaller things where it's like, oh, we have new students and we need a panel of graduate students, can you be one of them? I think I am much more empathetic I than maybe the average person, because in part because of English and humanities in general teaches you how to learn about other people, and you encounter other people and their stories, and that helps you understand others better and be able to put yourself in, their shoes, to use that metaphor. So with the rise of AI and also just misinformation on the internet, I cite my sources even when I am posting on Facebook or engaging in debate in a more casual way with someone. I know how to find information, tell you where I got it, and pull information from that source. And I back up pretty much all of my claims with some sort of evidence. And that's something that we use in a lot of different fields and a lot of different experiences, but it's something that English is the place where you're taught that. And I find that I am a diplomatic communicator. Even if I am debating with someone, I know how to keep my communication clear and precise and direct without slipping into name calling or being rude or whatever else. And I think English helps with that too, because I know how to speak and I know how to sound confident. I know how to word things in certain ways that are convincing. I think I just know how to build stronger arguments. Make sure you're building your support system now and accommodations you need for whatever now. You can't read everything. You just can't. Um, it's just not possible, and that doesn't make you less just because you can't get through everything. Um, Audiobooks are a lifesaver. Invest in audiobooks. And don't don't be afraid to speak up. I got really good at speaking up, but there were times where I had to really push myself to do it. So I think I would just remind myself that my voice matters, or that voices matter, that people's voices matter. Um, Otherwise, I think I would just give myself a hug and say, keep doing what you're doing, because I think I had a pretty good way of being that helped get me through. Um, and I think I would tell myself to make sure I read more in my free time that wasn't school. Have at least one book that I was reading that was something totally not connected to school at all. I tended to kind of never read outside of school, and I think that burned me out a little bit for a while. Um, and also just to always be honest with everyone around me about my experience and what I'm going through. Um, and that you're human and humans make mistakes and that's okay. ODU, and particularly the English department, was for me a place of love and welcome and warmth and acceptance, and in many ways it still is.